Bob, if Bob comes in the room and says, I'm going to the bathroom, right? And then you say to me, where's Bob? I can't say he's in the bathroom with 100% certainty. I can say, well, he's not in this room. He said he was going to the bathroom, but he might not be in the bathroom. Do you see what I'm saying?
That's true.
There's a law that says that, something about impossibility or probability, right?
I think we're all speaking out of turn now, Matt.
We're all speaking out of turn. Whose turn
Yeah,
is it?
I, I don't know. It's your turn. You ask the questions.
Are you saying that we don't have the what do you call it to do that?
The authority.
We don't have the authority to make those kind of calls, whether Bob's in the bathroom or not.
We can make assumptions that he's probably in the bathroom.
Right,
I,
but we can't say for 100% certainty that he's in the bathroom. Just because you see me chewing now doesn't mean that I went to get a snack. That's where we were going with this for the listener, for
let,
the viewer and
let,
the listener.
let me say this, Matt. I assumed you went to get a snack. Now I'm concerned that you went to get a drink.
That was perfect. And with that, we begin our World's Toughest Mudder 2022 preview prep information dive with Chris Maltbie. Chris, first question, a lot of people's minds. Spartan had to unfortunately cancel their 24-hour event. Spartan is now part of the Tough Mudder family, or vice versa, under one giant umbrella called OCRsWonderful.com, starring Joe DeSena. What do we need to know about people who were registered for the Spartan Ultra World Championship and what that means in Tough Mudder?
Yeah, for sure. So, I think it's actually going to be pretty cool for Worlds this year. So, anyone that was registered for the Ultra World Champs is being offered a transfer over to Tough Mudder, to World's Toughest down in Atmore, Alabama. What that means, they're going to be running the same race as everybody else. So, based on their qualification for Ultra World Champs, most of them are coming in the contender category. But at the end of the day, they're going to be running within the same categories that existed. We're not modifying World's Toughest in any way, or changing the format, in light of that. But I think it means for most people coming down to Worlds, especially on the contender side, is that we're going to have a pretty killer competition. A few top athletes that were on the fence about World's Toughest this year, just with their race schedules. And if anything, this is getting both some new and some old faces back to World's Toughest, which should be fun to watch and fun to take part in.
So this past weekend was the Obstacle Racing World Championships in Stratton. Fantastic event. And I spoke with Hannah and David Carta, who said we're both going to get orange jackets. Love to hear it. And it got me very excited because I think it will definitely be I'm going to say the most mileage of any women's field when it comes to the top, let's say 5. So right off the top, you've got Katie Knight, last year's winner, right? You've got Chris Rogloski doing it for the first time, and people know what she's been doing. 100 milers one weekend, podium for a 3K or a Spartan the next weekend, winning the High Rocks World Champs. So those two plus Hannah plus the old guard, right? If Amelia's coming, if Steph's coming, it's going to be awesome.
It should be pretty killer. And, I was down over the summer down in Alabama looking at the course. And depending on a few variables that you can never guarantee in advance with weather and otherwise, I think it's going to be a pretty fast one. We saw crazy record-breaking mileage last year when we were out in Nevada. And I think this one's going to be pretty quick as well. So it would be great to see some orange jackets going out this year.
Well, you get to decide that, though, I feel like in some respects. And I think the audience might assume we like you guys dial that up or down based on something. So again, like historically, like the first year you guys were going to give away a bunch of money, people were sure that you rigged it so that they wouldn't win the money. And then the next year, people were sure that you rigged it that they would win the money, which I don't know how that makes sense. But I guess, how do you design a course, Chris?
So, it just goes to show people will find a conspiracy theory in anything.
Right.
I think at the end of the day, our first and foremost, we want it to be a sweet experience, and we want it to be hard as hell. It's world's toughest for a reason, so we sort of go out with that mindset. We have a great team that works in this event for the better part of a year. So, of course, I'm involved and have a background with Worlds and with the product stuff at Tough Mudder in general. But we have a really killer team down there that's dedicated to mapping out the specifics of the course, that's building the obstacles, that are doing a lot of the back end work on the obstacles and the pit and sort of everything down there. What I like to see is a little bit of variation year on year. You don't want to run the same course every single year. You want to make sure you're taking advantage of any natural features that you have there. Of course, we always keep it at a 5 mile loop, but of course, if you're going to have a slightly faster running course, you want to try to ramp that up a little bit with more water crossings, with some obstacles that take a little bit more time, maybe some tougher penalties out there, because you don't want you don't want it to turn into just an ultra distance trail run, right? It's world's toughest for a reason. And we sort of have the benefit with our obstacles and our penalties and everything we put out there to test people in a million different ways. So we've got some ways to dial up or dial down the difficulty, but all with the goal of making it as consistent year on year as we possibly can. And then, of course, there's the weather, and we can't do anything about that, right? When we were down in Atlanta, for Worlds, it was absolutely freezing overnight. There's nothing we could have done about that, but it changes the nature of the race in a big way. Same thing with windstorms out in, when we were out like Las Vegas. There's always something going on, and you just can't really account for that.
Cool. So, what can you tell us now? Everyone wants to know, the big questions like, surprise obstacles, new obstacles, night versus day, obstacles on and off. What are the kinds of things you can tell us with what are we 7 weeks out, Chris? Where are we?
Oh gosh, we were just writing some emails and we put in how long it is. It's close. I mean, we're right on the cusp of October right now. So yeah, we're like about 6 weeks. It's like a month and a half
Oh my God.
until game day. It's unbelievable, but super exciting. So yeah, a lot of the timelines from last year around announcements are consistent this year. So we'll do the full like blow by blow detailed obstacle overview. And we release all of that information on completion requirements, penalties, all of that about a week out from the event. We will be doing some teaser content as we lead in to give a little bit of taste. But what I can say is it's almost entirely unique obstacles this year, or heavily modified versions of existing obstacles. Some of the physically largest obstacles we've ever done. It'll be a good mix of mental and physical challenges out there. The penalties will be sort of a mix of fan favorites and some completely new stuff to surprise and delight and torture folks that are coming out and running. We actually have live right now an obstacle or a penalty submission contest actually that went out to all
Ooh.
registered participants. So anyone in the community, any registered athlete for this event that wants to submit an idea, we can't guarantee it'll make it, but we don't like to have all the fun ourselves. So there's an open form right now to submit ideas on that front, with the deadline coming up in about a week, I think. So if you've got ideas, you want to submit anything, Matt, I know you've got a sick brain. You can send in some thoughts, and we'll see what we can get out of it.
Well, and just so people know, Tough Mudder is not just Whistling Dixie, as we say down here. You have done this in the past, not specifically around World's Toughest, but I believe there's been 2 submission contests, one where the obstacle worked, one where it didn't. Am I remembering this correctly, Chris?
This sounds vaguely right, although to keep us fresh all the time, I like to purge the painful memories and forge forever forward. But yeah, we've done obstacle submissions in the past. I think this is the first time we've done a penalty submission. We're actually working on a revised sort of obstacle innovation program that we hope to launch sometime next year, where we can crowdsource some more ideas the way we have in the past. But there's only so much you can come up with yourself. It's great to sort of hear, and sometimes you get an idea that doesn't work as it's submitted, but it gets the creative juices flowing, and you can get something really really amazing out of that once you start toying around with it. So some great innovation work going on currently, and we look forward to what comes out of this penalty contest.
All right, and because I know you're out there, whoever's listening to this and or watching, drop a comment and or DM if you're that guy, that won that contest, and I forget your name. Um, I feel like this was a thing. I know that like there were a couple of the beta tests that happened. Anyhow, so yeah, they're not just saying this; it's like a real thing that you guys do. Did I hear you say some of the biggest obstacles we've ever seen? Did you say that? Do you mean by height, by width, by girth?
I'm not comfortable talking about it that way with you, Matt, in a live setting, but we have some impressive features that I think will provide 24 hours of pleasure to our participants. I'll leave it
Okay.
there.
Okay. And will there be I remember last year next to Race Center, there were people hammering out carabiners out of concrete. Will there be some of that?
Will there be concrete? I haven't decided. Will there be Golden Carabiner challenges? Yes. So just like last year, if you're in the open category at Worlds, we have the Golden Carabiner challenges, which you can earn through a series of fun, sick, twisted games that on course and at the race center, and those grant you access to the carabiner route, where you can skip some obstacles on course. That's only for open participants. For anyone in the contender or elite contender category, you cannot do those contests. So you can stay focused on the race. So we don't have any issues with balance or anything there. If you're in any category, you can still earn the obstacle bypass wristbands that you get when you start crossing certain mileage thresholds. So those are for everybody. It's just the Golden Carabiners that are open only. We look forward to having fun. When you're at the race center for 24, 25, 26 hours, however long we end up being there, it pays to have some entertainment with people coming in and taking shots of hot sauce. And I think last year it took someone upwards of an hour with a little chisel hammer to get out one of those carabiners, and you just watched them get so invested in this thing. It was a moment of sadism and fun.
Yeah, I got to see some of that. I appreciate it. Will there be any non-fungible tokens around this event?
Um, I wish I could say yes, but I don't believe so. However, as what I'm sure you're alluding to, the Unbreakable Pass is out there, and that pass, season pass, whatever you want to call it, universal pass for all Tough Mudder Spartan family events, will apply to World's Toughest. So if you're looking for a sort of exclusive access to everything, you can certainly buy that and use it for Worlds next year.
Universal Pass, such a much better name than Unbreakable Pass. You don't have to answer that as a OCR employee. But yeah, I told Joe, I'm like, Unbreakable is like, you guys call everything that, and everybody calls everything that. And it's like, just call it, just call it a worldwide pass or universal pass. It's a great name for it. And if you're on the white list, which apparently I am, it's only $2,700 for like a week. So I'm very excited about that.
I don't
I
think I
wasn't
even got that deal.
Well, there was supposed to be some whole like first it was just fill this out and it was like a little form and I filled it out, but I never got whitelisted, or at least it didn't show me that I was. And then there were all these things about getting people to sign up and some very overcomplicated system that Spartan designed. But now I'm on it and it's only 20, it's for like a week. So anyway, but no, I think it's great. I think, listen, if you know you're gonna go to a ton of events, I think it's a no-brainer, especially they're going to add 3 years to it for you just by going to one of the events. I think it's a good deal if you go to a lot of races, especially now that it's across both brands. And if you want to try some of those new ones that Spartan has, the Highlander and whatnot, I think it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, speaking of, first Highlander in the US is next weekend out in Big Bear. So I think registrations are still open. I'm going out to do it myself to see what it's all about, but we've heard great stuff
Oh,
about it. And yeah,
well, maybe you can report back.
of course I'll report back.
So what else should the folks know at this point? What can you reveal? Anything?
Yeah, I guess, updates around sort of swag and stuff of that nature. So by popular demand, we have finisher tees back at Worlds this year. So we've got a sweet sort of custom design that you'll get for registering for the event, along with your bib. And then, of course, we have the architecture we've always had there around headbands and mileage bibs. So mileage bibs at 50, 75, 100 miles. There's a 125-mile bib that still no one has earned, and the 100-mile blazer. And then official finisher items. So, if you start the race at the beginning and you're there till at least 8 a.m., You earn the World's Toughest Headband and a World's Toughest Medal. So some cool stuff to sort of vie for there, whether you're just going for an official finish or trying to rack up some mileage. Should be good fun. And only other thing, we've got some deadlines coming up. So if you're not registered for the event already, get on it before October 1st. October 1st is the deadline to apply for contender status. So if you didn't qualify already through an Infinity, through your Legionnaire status, through a toughest event, sort of any of the criteria we have out there for becoming a contender, and you're applying for an exemption with performance from another race, you've got to get those in by October 1st. And so you need to register for the event first to do that. So hop on that. Also, October 1st, the limited edition tees we sell with the list of the participants all down the back of them. For your name to be on that shirt, you also need to be registered by October 1st. So yeah, get out there, get registered, make sure you get all the comms. We'll be launching pit reservation slots starting in mid-October. So the sooner you register, the more of that info you'll get to make sure you're sort of on top of it. I think that's all I got.
All right, man. Well, thanks for doing this. We will get this out ASAP.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Matt.